Good evening. So I'm a little bit tired these days. I'm not sure why. Maybe there is radiation. I don't know. You tell me. So I didn't walk outside to see if like the new starships can be seen already. I'm really excited towards the arrival of of the main fleet. Not to or like underestimate the current fleet, which is also amazing, but the larger ones should be quite sight. Um, Hopefully we'll be able to see several gears, together. Um, if anyone have watched them already by the naked eyes, please share information, or even if just using a telescope also could be interesting. So because I'm tired, I will not get out tonight, so I'll stay home with the apartment, all the time. And hopefully we'll get to do some science today. We actually have several like interesting experiments that we actually should conduct. First, I want to create another neural creation experiment like the many that we have done, but this time I'll do it just with the stronger transformer now that it's fixed, and perhaps like with the lucid glass, so we'll be able to see what's inside. Not completely lucid. If it's completely lucid, it's like if it's transparent, it mostly symbolizes myself. And I don't want it to symbolize myself. Generally, I don't like experiments like that with container that symbolizes the curves, even though it might be beneficial for me. But mostly, the best thing is just to let the neurons do whatever they need to do in the body, and the real beneficial thing is to eliminate the creatures that are harming you, not tinkering with your own body. So I just it will not be completely transparent. I just twitch it, tweak it a little, to signify like a human body, Homo sapiens bodies. You might ask, so why do you want to create more bodies in the Homo sapiens, or more neurons in the Homo sapiens body? First, we've done it in several couple of experiments, and also, as I've said, then it's beneficial, for the creation of new life forms, experiment. Because of course, the more they have in the body, the more life form they create. So this is first. And second, we need to, as I said, redo the create new life form experiment, but now with a simpler container without that many kind of like layers. This container was very complicated and with much symbolism. I'm not sure, but I think maybe some commentators actually understood that the container symbolizes the Earth, and it's true because of the magnetic core and the ocean of P, and so yes, and the fossil fuels and the mud. So yes, so I'll use the simpler one now, and also I'll change the symbology, because what I want to show you like a zoo. Not, I want the neurons to be concentrated on the creation of all sorts of like microscopic life forms, and not necessarily like the big ones. So I'll try to do that as well. Now, in addition to these two, I actually saw that if you're new to the channel and you're new to everything, maybe you haven't seen any fire experiment yet. There were actually a tremendous amount of fire experiments, and maybe you want to see some. So in general, there are the fire experiments, or for the fire-related experiments, it's less convenient to actually conduct them, because it's inside the room, it's extremely stinking. And even if I do it on the window, it's still stinking, but I might do it for the sake of science and to show you interesting stuff. of course, it also symbolizes things with the starship. You can guess what. Um, so it's not very difficult. So I would say that the fire experiments, there are two types. One type is something that I've done already while I was at the rest in my mother's apartment during March and April, and also during trips that I've done at the same time, like to the beach or to the parks in Rishon. And these kind of like experiments were intended. They didn't really require any microscopic apparatus. It's just, the idea was to show how the Neos can enrich fuels, and specifically bivax and several types of oils. And how the enriched fuel can burn like rocket fuel, or very, very strongly, even like with just a very little amount of fuel. And this was done, and it's very interesting. It's actually very interesting. Now, I didn't prepare on advanced enriched fuel actually, and it's not something that I know how to do. In expedited way using electrolysis, like you've seen yesterday. It's mostly done. By you know what I call it. Just by time. You should give it. You need to put the neo juice on the wax or on the oil, and you need to let it do its thing, to enrich the fuels. There might be a way to do it. In like an expedited way. There might be such a way, and probably using electricity, not fire, because fire will just burn the fuel. But I didn't have opportunity to venture with this type of research. But this is extremely interesting, and you will be able to see, relatively huge fires. So what wax can you use? But we still can use wax from the various wax containers. Like the metal one that I used for the experiment yesterday. So as I said, there is like a sediment of wax. Unfortunately, it's a little bit. It's mixed with dirt, which is of course not beneficial. But maybe we can remove some of it. And I have other containers that also contain wax. And this wax is most probably it's enriched, even though it's probably also contain tremendous amount of life forms. So we'll burn both the enriched wax and the life form inside of it. And it's going to be very impressive if you see it for the first time. I assure you. Now the second type of fire experiments are incredibly important, because actually this was what I call the crucible, it's kind of like a certain it's like apparatus, more than one apparatus that I used to create all sorts of stuff using it's made out of clay, all sorts of clay, and it's looked like crucible, and I've used that in the past several months as for I would say advanced study of the Neos. As I said, the most amazing thing that were created inside the crucible are, first of all, the full metal jacket, which is wasp made of metal, like a living wasp made of metal. And I've seen quite a bit of those already. And they were created just here. Now I guess that they multiply on the Earth, just, swarm and multiply, do their thing. But, originally it was created right here in this crucible. And it's extremely interesting. As I said, as I've showed you yesterday, I have one specimen that they actually died here in captivity, so it's still with me, the body. Now, other stuff also of my microbial stuff was created in the crucible. Of course, all are fire resistant, they have tremendous heat resistant, and also we've seen the creation of flies, of very small flies that were not created completely, but we've seen it under the microscope, and they were amazing. Again, in the crucible, amazing type of flies that are not known to Earth, that we have wing structure and bone structure that is not typical to anything in Earth. By the way, as opposed to the full metal jacket, that is actually its form is. is typical to that of a wasp. I mean, there is a ton. I mean, there are many wasps in Earth, and probably there is no wasp that looks just like that. I mean, probably if you just look at it, I mean, it was enough to kind of like to say that this is a new species. But of course, when you do the autopsy, you understand that it's made of metal, and you cannot cut it even with a knife. And it's weighed like, I mean, much more than a wasp. I mean, it's kind of like a flying tank, and it's got like heat resistance. So it's of course it's an alien. But its general form is that of that, I mean, for wasp. But I mean, we've seen actually flies, not living ones, but ones that are, I mean, like duds, what they call duds. That were, I mean, that was taken from the crucible. Well, I mean, on the middle of the progress of creation. That, I mean, but in very advanced stages, and we've seen it under Microsoft, and it's in this channel. I mean, just, I mean, watch the videos from about 3 months ago, and it was very interesting because these flies did not have the bone structure and like the wing structure of any flies that are known to humans, which is it was very interesting. So if you haven't seen Stan Wade, I mean, maybe it's interesting to show you that as well. Just think to think about what and also, of course, these are traditionally the way, I mean, this is the simplest way to create radioactive material, actually, using the NIROs. Even though it's difficult to prove that such material was created, but maybe I'll try to do something. I told myself that I wouldn't like do new experiments now because I just want to perform like a showcase for the new audience of what we've already done. I'm almost tempted to try to create like gold dust, something that I haven't done until now, because as I've said before, I was always afraid that, I mean, if I create gold, it will be just more of an excuse for the Shabak to torture me and to take everything from me. So I haven't done it yet, but I'm almost tempted to do it for the first time, like to try to create gold using the crucible. But I think it's more like important to show you things that I already know how to do. Like, I mean, that will be pretty, I mean, you know, that will have like pretty much consistent results. So maybe we'll skip the gold for now, and also skip radioactive material for now, because it's not easy to prove that it was created. I don't know. I mean, you can suggest I mean, I'm open to suggesting. Like, do you find it interesting, like, to see how life forms, like, I call this type of life form the demons. I mean, don't be spiritual or something, you know. It's science, but I mean, just, I mean, you know, because they are heat resistant. I mean, of course, they are created literally inside the crucible, inside fire, even very hot fire. So if you're interested, and there is also another thing that maybe you might be interesting. There is also a method that is less consistent than the electrolysis, but I mean, there is another method to create NIROs actually in the energetic pathways. I mean, not using the ecosystem pathway, they're not using electricity, but using fire. But it tends to be less consistent than with electricity, but you get somehow larger NIROs. Like, I mean, less NIROs, but larger ones. I don't know why. I mean, by empirical result, that's what's happened. And so if you're interested to see that, like, how can I create like NIRO mixture? And actually, so eventually, what you were left is kind of like, I mean, not like a soup like what we have with electrolysis, but more like a gem, which is like made of burned ash and burned oil and very big NIROs, and also a little bit of demonic life forms. It sounds disgusting, but I've actually eaten quite a bit of it. I mean, and it was documented. Like, I've eaten maybe 5 pitas with hummus and chocolate and a little bit of like a spoonful of this gem in each of the pita, like about 2 months ago. And I feel fine. I mean, generally, I say. It's kind of like, I mean, it's, you know, it adds some spice to the hummus. I like the charcoal, like, I mean, the you know, the burnt charcoal, like, I mean, thingy, but maybe too oily. Oh, I thought maybe I'll buy Tabasco today. So tomorrow maybe I'll go to buy some Tabasco and we can add it to this gem. I still have by the way, I still have just a bit of this gem, but maybe I'll show you later in one of the small crucibles that are still with me. But it stood for so long. I mean, so probably it contained tremendous amount of maybe we should watch it under the microscope actually. So let's watch it under the microscope. I mean, just a second. I'll show you what I mean. So it's right in here. This is the cabinet of the crucibles. Below is the cabinet of the metal containers. Here are the metal containers. You see? And this is the drawer of the crucibles. You see, we have quite a bit of crucibles actually. You see, we have quite a bit of crucibles. So what we have here is the following. We have this one, which is mostly barren stuff, and we have the big one. The big one that you see here. This one was created it was used for the creation of the Full Metal Jacket, and these were the gem containers. So this is mostly barren stuff. It's not really nice, but here in that one, this is the small crucible. There is still quite a bit of gem in it. I wouldn't eat it, but maybe we can watch it under the microscope. Might be very, very interesting, actually, to watch it under the microscope. So yes, I've eaten the gem. I think the gem is mostly charcoal, barren char and barren canola oil, and a little bit of uranium and plutonium, and of course Nero, very big Neros that were created in the fire, and also some quantity of demons, what I call the demons, which are the fire resistant, the heat resistant microbes. And maybe I wouldn't recommend every person to eat it. Probably it's an acquired taste, but yes, I've eaten maybe 3 pitas and 2 lahmaniot, lahmania, I don't know. No. So I've eaten 2 or 3 pitas and maybe 2 lahmaniot, which is kind of like bread, רגע, אני ערום, מה הבעיה? מה הבעיה? אני ערום. חכה רגע, אז חכה דקה, מה הלחץ? חכה דקה. So, so I've eaten a pita or 2 or 3 lahmaniot with this kind of jam, and it didn't do me harm, but as I said, it's the acquired taste. So I'll finish the video because there is somebody who knocks on the door and I will need to get dressed. So this will be the agenda for today, and I'm open to comments. Bye for now.